My name is Allison, and it was named after my grandmother. My twin sister Ashley was named after my aunt. Although we are twins, we are fraternal, and while our eyes are similar, there is one feature that sets us apart: our noses. Compared to Ashley's, my nose is flat and low. My parents, who placed great importance on appearance, seemed to dislike this about me, and as a result, there are very few photos of me from my childhood. In contrast, there are enough photos of Ashley to fill several albums. I felt the difference in love and attention between Ashley and me, believing that one day someone would love me for who I was. But when my mother Emily made a direct comment about my appearance, it was when I was 18 months old during a medical checkup. She apparently took the opportunity to ask the doctor if my nose would ever grow taller. Unhappy with the answer, she complained about it under her breath even after returning home.
They said low noses are normal, but how could anyone think this nose is cute? That doctor is crazy.
I couldn't respond, but I understood the meaning behind her words. My mother didn't like me. If I had been weaker, I might have been devastated and closed off, but I was surprisingly positive. It's okay because I know I'm cute. A few years later, when I was 3, we started kindergarten. While Ashley was popular, I was teased by the kids in our class. By then, Ashley had absorbed our parents' views and started to exclude me as well.
I'm not going to play with someone with a weird nose. Mom said I shouldn't.
With that, she would play with the other kids, glancing at me to show off how much fun she was having. Some might wonder why no adults intervened, but Ashley would cling to my arm and pretend to be a loving sister whenever the teacher was around, so no one realized what was happening. Maybe some adults noticed, but chose to ignore it, but Ashley's acting was so convincing that no one suspected a thing. Despite everything, I didn't mind. I never thought my nose was strange. In fact, I thought it was small and cute. It functioned as a nose should, and just because it was lower didn't mean I was any less myself. I thought it was scarier if everyone's noses were the same height, like dolls. But it seemed I was the only one who thought that way. Other kids teased me because Ashley said my nose was weird, and they just went along with it. When I asked why, they said it was because Ashley says so, or because their parents said so. In other words, they didn't have a reason of their own. They just repeated what they heard from others. Even though I couldn't put it into words, I felt their way of thinking was strange. Maybe when I grew up, I'd be able to explain this feeling better. Despite the situation at kindergarten, it was still more comfortable than being at home, where I was treated as if I didn't exist. Ashley was always the priority, and I was always an afterthought. I can't recall ever being praised, even when discussing our dreams for the future.
I want to be a princess when I grow up.
Well, Ashley is already our princess.
Yes, Ashley is our princess.
I want to be a princess too.
Allison, that's impossible. You'll never be a princess. Everyone would run away.
Don't dream about things that can't come true. Give up like your father says.
Looking back now, I realize how cruel they were to say such things to a young child. Words can hurt deeply, even if they're true. But I wasn't hurt because I believed that people ran away because I was too attractive for them to handle. I thought maybe I wasn't meant to be a princess, but rather someone who helps other women become princesses. I started to think about my future in a different way. I could be like a fairy godmother in a story, helping others. And one day I came across a picture book that changed my life. Ashley received it from an older girl at kindergarten but didn't like it.
This isn't what I wanted. I don't need this.
She shoved it into my bookcase, which was actually her old hand-me-downs. The picture book was a coloring book intended for children aged 4 and up. It involved using makeups-like materials to color in a girl's face, transforming her appearance with just a few strokes. It was like magic. That was when my interest in makeup began. But I couldn't tell my parents. They would surely disapprove. Despite saying that kindergarten was more comfortable, there were still at certain times when I felt at ease even at home. That was when my uncle and his wife, Jason and Heather, visited. Jason, who was my father's older brother, and Heather would make time to visit us regularly. What I remember most is how they treated Ashley and me equally. They gave us the same toys, spent the same amount of Christmas presents, and never showed favoritism. I enjoyed being with them more than with my own family and even wished they were my real parents. Little did I know that my wish would come true. One year, they came to our house for New Year's. They were planning to stay for a few days since they had some time off work. I was thrilled to have them around for longer than usual and stuck close to them the whole time. Ashley, on the other hand, watched us from a distance, looking resentful. That's because my parents always believed Ashley's lies about me being mean to her, but my aunt and uncle didn't fall for it.
If you keep lying like that, you'll lose something important. Stop doing shameful things. Nobody likes lies.
Look at Allison's good points. Ever since my uncle scolded her, Ashley saw them as difficult adults and stayed close to our parents instead. Meanwhile, I stayed close to my uncle and aunt, who watched over us as they chatted and drank. But the alcohol removed my parents' inhibitions. Normally, they would never talk about my appearance in front of others, especially not my uncle and aunt, but that day, they did.
Who would want an ugly daughter like this?
Ashley is so cute, so why did we end up with one like this?
My parents and Ashley laughed, but my uncle and aunt stopped eating, their faces turning serious. The atmosphere turned tense. My father seemed to realize his mistake and tried to say something, but the words wouldn't come out. Ignoring him, my uncle exchanged a glance with Heather, then stood up.
You haven't changed at all. I thought becoming a parent might have changed you, but I'm disappointed. Hey, there's no need to talk like that. We're just stating facts, right, Ashley?
Yeah, it's Allison's fault for being ugly and having a weird nose.
If you don't want her, I'll take her.
Allison, would you like to live with us? Yes, I want to live with you guys. I answered immediately without hesitation. My father's face turned even redder as he realized I wasn't going to stay. Maybe he expected me to choose to stay, hoping for their love. But even I, who had waited for their love, had no intention of staying after being told I wasn't wanted.
Do whatever you want, but don't come back. You're not our child anymore.
You'll regret it,
my mother said from behind my father. If she was going to hide, she shouldn't have said anything at all. But I was too excited about living with my uncle and aunt to really hear her words. I packed my favorite books into my backpack and went with them. It was a hectic new year, but undoubtedly the best start to a year I've ever had. I didn't understand the complicated words that were exchanged, but I later learned that they went through a special adoption process to make me their legal child. My uncle and aunt officially became my adoptive parents. It felt like a dream come true, and for weeks after becoming their child, I would wake up every morning and ask them to confirm that it was real. I'm really your child now, right? My adoptive parents never got tired of reassuring me.
Yes, you're our child now.
As those words warmed my heart, I gradually became comfortable calling them Mom and Dad. Since it would be awkward to continue attending the same kindergarten as Ashley, I transferred to a new one. Surprisingly, no one at my new kindergarten teased me about my nose. Even though I joined midway through the year, none of the kids asked about it, and I later learned that the teacher had prepared them in advance. The children warmly welcomed me and showed me around the kindergarten. Perhaps they were excited to act as guys, feeling like older siblings. Having often been isolated before, I was thrilled to be accepted so openly. I spent the rest of my time there feeling as if I had always been a part of the group. Thanks to the loving care of my adoptive parents and the new environment, I grew up happily and healthily. Time passed, and I went from elementary school to junior high, and then on to high school. When it came time to choose my future path, my adoptive mother told me I could pursue any field I wanted. I had a dream in mind, but concerns about money and other factors held me back.
If you don't want to do it, that's okay, but don't hold back if it's something you want. It's better to try and regret it than not try at all.
Her words gave me the push I needed to pursue my dream. I decided to attend a university that was close to home. I enrolled in a pharmacy program, both to achieve my dream and to become a licensed pharmacist. After 6 years of study and passing the exam, I secured a job in the development department of a cosmetics company. After becoming a working adult, I finally gathered the courage to ask my adoptive parents why they chose to adopt me. Surely they could have adopted another child. I was happy to be their daughter, but I worried that I might have been a burden. When I asked, my adoptive father seemed surprised and patted my head.
Why would you think that, Allison? Don't worry about that. We're the ones who asked you to live with us. You may be an adult now, but you're still our child.
Seeing my expression, he smiled, understanding that for parents, their children are always children, no matter how old they get.
Actually, I had a low nose when I was young, just like you. It was a big insecurity for me. I worked hard in school and sports to compensate, but my father always put me down because of my nose. He mocked me just like Ashley used to mock you. He kept teasing me until my nose finally grew during puberty. But when I introduced your mother, he suddenly stopped. After moving out and starting my own life, I met different people and realized that the world is full of different opinions. Your mother helped me build my self-confidence.
They really were meant to be together like a couple connected by the red string of fate.
I couldn't just stand by and let you suffer in that environment. I thought if only our home could be your sanctuary. I also couldn't have children, which was something that troubled your grandfather. Jason remembered how much I wanted children, even though I had accepted it wouldn't happen for us. He must have known me better than I knew myself.
Are you sure you don't regret making me your child?
Of course not. You're our treasure. We would never regret it.
As she hugged me, tears of happiness welled up in my eyes. I was so glad to be their child. As I held their hands, I thought back to the little girl I once was, never imagining that I would end up as their daughter. I was standing at a crossroads in life, and the path I chose led me to a fulfilling life. Now I work hard every day and enjoy it. But my adopted parents worry that I never talk about romance. I've been focused on my career, studying makeup that suits me, and maybe that's why I'm more popular with women than men. Although I've been a confidant and matchmaker many times, I haven't found a romantic partner myself. I even lived with someone once, but we parted ways amicably. We're still good friends, and his straightforward advice from a male perspective has been invaluable to me. He taught me that it's okay not to be obsessed with marriage. Since becoming their adoptive daughter, I've faced many challenges, but I've become the president of a cosmetics company. We create custom-made cosmetics tailored to each customer's skin. Our products are gender-neutral, designed for everyone. We also offer ongoing support to help our customers adjust to changes in their skin over time. We plan to expand into skincare, soaps, and hair care products in the future. Recently, I was interviewed as a successful female entrepreneur leading a company with an annual turnover of $10 million. The road hasn't been easy, but I'm glad I never gave up. Without the support of my team, including that friend of mine, I wouldn't have achieved my dream. And most importantly, I couldn't have done it without the encouragement of my adoptive parents. They pushed me to go to college, or else my dream would have remained just that, a dream. I was determined to work hard, grateful for all the help I'd received. But then, an unexpected visitor came to my office, threatening to undermine that resolve. It was my biological parents, and Ashley, all three of them, who showed up unannounced, begging for help. At first, I didn't recognize them and considered sending them away, but then Ashley spoke up.
It's me, your cute little sister. Did you forget me?
It's been a long time. What brings you here without any prior notice?
We're your parents. Do we need to make an appointment to visit our daughter?
Just hear us out. It won't take long.
Although I was appalled by their audacity, I knew I had to get rid of them quickly. I ushered them into a private room where they immediately started talking without waiting for my response.
I graduated from a great university and met a wonderful man at my job. We're about to get married, but I tried a beauty regimen I found online, and now my face is burned.
They looked at me expectantly, but I didn't know what to do. Like food, cosmetics have expiration dates. Even if a doctor or specialist prescribes something, it's dangerous to use products that don't suit your skin. How could they not understand that? Before coming here, they should have gone to a hospital. I'm sorry, but I can't help you. I recommend that you see a doctor as soon as possible. As I calmly told them this, my biological father grabbed my arm to stop me from leaving.
She's about to get married, but she can't with her face like this. Do something.
Your father's right. Just put some makeup on her. You're the president. You can do that much, can't you?
I do have makeup for covering scars, and I can't help until she's treated by a doctor. Please go to the hospital immediately.
You're just jealous that I'm getting married first and to a rich man. You're being stingy and taking revenge on me. You're the worst sister ever. I'm finally going to be a rich bride, so stop getting in my way.
Ashley's accusations were absurd. I had no interest in ruining her life, and I wasn't jealous. In fact, if they hadn't barged in, I would never have seen them again. I had no ill will, but Ashley's baseless rants were exhausting. I decided it was best to ask them to leave. They were eventually escorted out by security, but the next day they became infamous. An employee had recorded the entire exchange and sent it to a TV station. The news aired, condemning them for their behavior. My biological parents were being criticized for how they treated me, and Ashley was criticized for not defending her sister. Even with their faces blurred, people recognized them. I had mentioned my adopted parents in interviews, but had never talked about my biological parents and sister because I considered them irrelevant. I thought it was better to remain silent, but this situation made it clear that silence only fueled speculation. Now reporters were swarming the house where I spent my early childhood. I posted a video on my social media apologizing for the inconvenience this was causing and asking for understanding. I didn't want to add fuel to the fire, so I said as little as possible, hoping the situation would calm down soon. I felt sorry for my employees and the people in my old neighborhood. A phone call from my neighbor saved me from my despair. The caller was someone who had cared for me when I was young, often scolding my biological parents for how they treated me. She was also close to my adopted mother, and they still kept in touch.
This isn't your fault. Those people are getting what they deserve.
My neighbor told me that my biological parents who used to parade Ashley around were now avoiding attention and arguing loudly at home.
They blamed each other, saying Ashley shouldn't have tried such a dangerous beauty regimen without doing her research. Ashley retorted that it was their fault for pressuring her to improve her appearance.
Apparently, Ashley had been full of energy until her fiancé messaged her, telling her that he didn't want to marry her anymore because his love wasn't based on her appearance. Their engagement was called off, and she realized too late that she had truly loved him. After that, Ashley shut herself in her room, and my biological mother started calling my office, demanding to speak to me. I had to deal with her constant complaints about how I had ruined everything. No matter how much I questioned it, she insisted it was all my fault. Finally, I grew tired of the nonsense. You're the ones who showed up and caused a scene. If anyone should be paying compensation, it's you, not me. Maybe we should involve a lawyer.
A lawyer? That's unnecessary. Just tell everyone the reports are lies.
You're not my family, so don't contact me again. The next time we meet, it'll be in court. She hung up the phone abruptly. She must have realized what would happen if they continued to cause trouble. I was relieved they backed off because I didn't want to waste my time on a lawsuit. I was busy with new product development, and I was glad they didn't pursue it further. After that, I didn't hear from them again, and it seemed like I was finally free from them. My adoptive father kept my biological father's contact information, but he decided to cut ties with him after this incident.
I always hoped they would change and apologize, but it seems they only caused trouble.
He was a kind person, but he wouldn't forgive someone who caused trouble for his daughter's company. Even a saint doesn't offer endless chances for redemption. My biological father's mistakes had deepened the rift between him and my adoptive father, a rift that would likely never heal. Sadly, Ashley grew up exactly as our parents wanted, too focused on appearance to recognize what truly matters. I hope she'll reflect on herself after this heartbreak and learn to see things differently, but that's up to her. I always read the feedback we receive from our customers, even though I'm busy. Recently, I received a letter thanking us for helping them regain confidence in their appearance. Some customers send emails through our website, but I also appreciate handwritten letters for their warmth. Our entire staff reads them gratefully. But I want our customers to know that the effort was theirs. Our cosmetics just provided a little help. I encourage people to find their own unique beauty without conforming to society's standards. My team and I, each with our own distinct qualities, work together to create products that embrace individuality. Some of our employees are still learning to love themselves, but I believe that our differences make us beautiful. I hope to continue developing cosmetics that can support and uplift those who are struggling with self-acceptance.